I'll call the budget board together. We'll start with the assessor for roll call.
Larry Stein, Oklahoma County Assessor.
Miles Davidson, Oklahoma County District 3.
Brian Mon.
Carrie Bloomer. Marissa Treat.
Rick Warren.
Tommy Johnson III.
The notice of the meeting was properly posted on October 18th. And Sheriff, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of September 21st?
Motion.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any individual consideration on the consent docket?
21st and 27th.
All right.
Motion to approve minutes from September 27th.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you for catching that. Any individual in consideration on consent? If not,
Move the consent.
Second.
I'm sorry,
Nope.
number 36. It's just a Scribner's error on page, 35, number 36. The number on the agenda is correct. The very last number, it says, I think 76 cents, and it should say, no, opposite. It says, that says 76 cents, which is correct. Your attachment says 79. Sorry, messing up my talking points that they gave me this morning.
Well, I got 3 cents for you. I'm telling you.
So sorry. They did a great job preparing. It's just a simple 9 and 6 switch. So I just need to move to accept the new attachment, which is sitting in front of you.
Okay,
That was
so I'll make an amendment to
clear as
my
mud.
motion to approve consent with the attachment handed out before us.
I'll
How
second.
about that?
That would be great. Sorry.
All right.
Thank you.
okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the monthly financial report. There you go, Micah.
Good morning.
Uh-oh.
All right, it's the PowerPoint. This is the general fund budget as of September 30th. Remember that we went through the supplement and estimates of needs in September, but the excise board didn't approve that till October 5th. So the transfers didn't happen in September. It will show up next month on the report. So that was just reflects still as of September, we had $690,002 in reserves. Then we'll go to page 5, which is your actual comparison from September 23 compared to last year. We're doing really good with our budget, kind of similar as last year. The 2 points, the interest income is of course related to ARPA, high number, and the miscellaneous revenue is higher because we received a FEMA reimbursement, and the intergovernmental revenue is because of juvenile. They got the payment from 22-23 and also a monthly payment. Then we go to employee benefits. We're trending the right way due to all the changes effective July 1st as well as October 1st. We're showing that we're going to be in the positive, so that's good, but it's only 3 months of numbers. It's always kind of early in the year. And then the next page is the claims by register date. The top part, we're doing, almost 11% better than last year. On the bottom, on the revenues, what we received last year, we had like $1 million in ARPA reimbursements, and this year we only have 85 so far, 85,000. So that's kind of a difference. And then the last page, I have the capital projects. Last month, we kind of funded the 11th floor project and the judicial chambers. And then on the supplement, we also budgeted 500,000 for the courthouse security improvement. So our balance as capital projects as needed is 17,241. But on this agenda today, we're going to do a cash transfer that was budgeted for 360,000 to put in as needed. So that will show up next month, and that's all I have.
Real quick can you go back to page 5? You said FEMA reimbursement. What was that from?
It was from the winter storm in 20, the ice storm.
Holy cow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Any questions? Is there a motion to receive a report?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Cody?
Good morning. My time up here will be brief today, I think. We have no new additions to the watch list this month, no recommendation. We didn't add anything to the watch list, nor are we recommending any transfers from the reserve account this month. Currently, the reserve account is $1,927,309. BET does have one recommendation on your agenda. It's not a funding item from reserve, but it is related to the employee rates. So I'd be happy to answer any questions related to that when you get to that item on your agenda.
No questions. Is there a motion to receive his report?
So
I'll
moved.
move. I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm presenting this in a different format than usual because I find it very important to look at where we're trending on medical and prescription claims. Kind of tells you the back side of the story, where we're actually trending to. So if you'll follow me, this is kind of hard to follow, but there's two boxes at the top. The left side is this fiscal year. The right side is last fiscal year. And this is medical claims. So this just shows all the medical claims we paid this fiscal year and last fiscal year through this week, Wednesday. So this fiscal year, we paid 15 weeks of claims. Last fiscal year, through the same period, we paid 14 weeks. We're 1.1 million under this fiscal year where we were at last fiscal year. The really important thing to look at is what our average weekly costs are, where we're trending at. This fiscal year, we're at $356,000 per week. If we look at the same period on the right, we were at $464,000 per week in claims. So that's $108,000 per week difference. Now, if you'll drop down just a little bit, the average weekly paid medical in fiscal year 22 and 23 averaged out to $393,000 per week. And then you look again at the left, under this fiscal year, we were averaging $356,000 per week. So about $36,000 less per week than we were last fiscal year. That's a very positive note. Just received the claims for this week. They came in very low too on the medical side. Now, the bottom part is the most important thing, very important. The left side, this fiscal year, right side, last fiscal year. Because of the weekly BOCC meetings now this year, we're paying things way faster than we did last fiscal year. Last fiscal year on the right, this is through last Wednesday, we paid 14 weeks of prescription claims. This fiscal year, at the same point, we paid 18 weeks. So we paid way more date span of prescription claims. Last fiscal year, through this time period, the weekly average prescription costs were $271,000 per week through that period that I list right there. Right now, everything we paid this fiscal year, we're averaging $229,000 per week. And then if we look down below that, it's very important. I want to point this out on the left. You know, we changed the plan, 7-1, retirees went under a different plan. Under the claims that are incurred, prescription claims since 7-1, since that change, we're averaging $211,000 per week. The average last fiscal year for all claims that were incurred in 22-23 was $264,000 a week. That's a $53,000 a week difference. Now, something To add to that, we changed 10-1 to the new pharmacy company, got our first invoice in. It's only for 2 weeks, but we really need to look at least 3 or 4 months to really see, because some people fill a 90-day prescription on the plan, some people fill a 30-day prescription, but it's looking very, very positive. So our first week, really, average weekly cost under the new plan is $148,000. So under the first invoice we received is $148,000 average for a week prescription claims. Look, last year, fiscal year, we averaged 264,000. So this fiscal year, we're averaging 229, so it's way, way down. I just want to point that out.
I
Now,
got a question for you.
Sure.
And the numbers obviously speak for themselves,
do.
and that does look good. How are we doing with our retirees? That was such a goat rope when that first started, when we changed.
Sure. I want to address it. I'm glad you brought that up. Glad you brought that up. I want to address that to a point. One thing to remind this board and remind everybody here, we have the best retiree health insurance in the state. Our coverage, again, is retirees with Medicare. It covers 100% of what Medicare doesn't pay. They never pull out their checkbook, anything, when they go to the doctor. You know, we pick it up. Plus, there's a lot of added benefits. We paid extra to get them the same prescription coverage as they have now. Okay? Same dental plan as everybody else has, same vision. Retiree single pays $78 a month for that coverage a month. The state coverage, like that, is $600 a month and not even as good. So put that in perspective. So long story short, it was a transition period because, you know, some providers didn't understand that any Medicare provider can bill under our plan. If they'll bill Blue Cross Blue Shield, they'll get paid at 100% of Medicare rates. So we went through all those questions, concerns. We've got a lot of, you know, angry people settled down because a lot of people didn't understand it. Change is a big thing, especially, you know, when you're dealing with Medicare and different things. But I think we've got a lot of those roadblocks.
I am glad to hear that. Where the problem is when our retirees went to their normal position or whatever, it was doing their normal health stuff that they do. And then all of a sudden, when their health provider, pharmacy or whatever, tried to put it in, they didn't understand.
That's the biggest thing. It was a miscommunication or misunderstanding. We have a group Medicare Advantage plan. That means any Medicare provider can bill it. If you're on a single Medicare Advantage plan, you're just an individual buying one, you're regulated to a small amount of providers you can see. Ours can see any Medicare providers. And then you have to pay co-pays, deductibles. You have huge co-pays on the prescription plan. Our retirees don't have all that stuff. So it's really a communication thing of, hey, any provider can bill Medicare. We actually sent them out some more sheets too to bring to their doctor saying, hey, here's how it works. Here's the steps. And we kind of worked through those steps. I think it was really the big issue was with a group that lived kind of in the same area and used the same doctor. Basically, they presented their card and the doctor's office said, we don't take that. So then we had to make multiple calls. And at the end of the day, they got paid the same amount as they were before. So it's really communication and understanding, working through those misunderstandings on that. But I think it's running a lot smoother. As a reminder too, to the county in the budget, last year we spent $1.1 million for their Medicare supplement. We spent $2.5 million for their prescription drugs. So 1.1, so that's $3.6 million we spent for that group of people. This year, for their Medicare supplement and their drugs, we're paying $1.4 million. The federal government's picking up the rest. So it's a huge savings to the county and the retirees. Same benefit too. 100% covered medical, same prescription copays. Everything's going good. Any other?
No, I really appreciate you getting into that on behalf of our retirees. And I know change is change, but same token. So it sounds as if then, at least I don't get any more phone calls. Of course, I also don't have a phone, but.
Well, I think one of the issues too, Butch, is maybe one of the prior agents was driving some discord in that. You know, they lost their commission, and we're driving some problems with it because our group Advantage plan is the best in the state. No company, no governmental agency has a retiree program like ours.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. You're doing a great job.
Great job.
Thanks, John.
Questions? Is there a motion to receive his report?
Motion to receive?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next item is the rates.
Yes, sir. So I'll briefly really go over just the rates and then hand it over for any questions. If Cassie can pull up that PowerPoint real quick. Okay. This is just a quick overview of the report. So just to remind you, this is how they calculate the data. They look at the last 3 years. They really rely heavily on our last year claims. As everyone knows here, last year wasn't good. But huge cost, scrambling for money. This year's totally different, but it goes year to year. So they look at really the last year's of claims. They apply national trends, what they see in the market. There are those trends, 7.5% for medical, 10% for prescription. And then since the rates are going to go into effect in January, they apply additional trend to those rates, saying, hey, you're going to put those in effect maybe in January. We're going to apply additional trends. So they apply 11.49% for medical, 15% for prescription. So big trend. If you look at our history, I showed this last month. I'm going to show it every month. Over the last 9 years, medical has averaged 4% trend. Prescription, 11% trend. Here's our history of what our employee rates were. It goes from 2017 to current. Now, these actuarial rates were based on last year. We had a big year last year. We're not repeating that this year, but those were based solely on that year. So the proposed single rate would be a 70 per month difference, or a 44% increase. Family would be a 43% increase if we went by the actuary rates. It would go from $374 to $538 a month. Now, here's all the rates, and something to point out on these rates. This is as proposed. This shows our retiree rates, single and family. The retirees with Medicare, since their cost is a fixed cost, before it was a fluctuating cost because it's based on the prescription cost. Now it's a fixed cost. We know what it's going to be every month, so the actuary knows what the rate's going to be. So their prices actually went down. So a single with Medicare that gets 100% paid medical, great prescription program, dental, vision, their rate is actually $60 per month. So it actually goes down. Same thing with retiree and spouse with Medicare. Theirs goes down because now they're on a fixed rate. But those are the proposed rates. If the board increased the rates, 6 months of this would bring in additional revenue into employee benefits of $887,000 this fiscal year. So if the board said, hey, January, we want to put extra money into employee benefits, that's how much these rates would generate.
I'd like to hear a little bit from Cody, because I believe that you all vetted this in the BET pretty heavily, didn't you?
Yes, we did. We looked at the actuary report. We also looked at the data that John presented to you guys in his earlier report. We also considered the changes that were made July 1, as well as the changes that went into effect October 1. Looking at that, I mean, even last year when we had a bad year, we still beat those actuary recommended increases, and that is well documented on John's previous slides. Looking at the situation, understanding that they weigh heavily last year, understanding that what John just said, we're going to save upwards of $2 million just from that change July 1 in the retirees. I think he said it was $3.6 million last year between the purchase of the supplement as well as the prescriptions. And then this year, it's 1.2 million fixed costs. That's over $2 million savings there. October 1 made the change to the new pharmacy company. So we anticipate more savings. That doesn't mean that the actuary is definitely going to be wrong. We just don't know that. What our thought was that we should freeze rates for all of the categories with the exception of those 3 Medicare categories. The retiree single with Medicare, that the recommendation is to decrease. The retiree and family, both with Medicare category, recommendation is to decrease because those are fixed known costs, as well as retiree and spouse with Medicare, dependents without. Those 3 we're recommending going ahead and reducing those rates according to the actuary recommendation. The other rates hold steady, and this time next year, we will have multiple months of analysis of the change that occurred 10/1 on our new pharmacy provider, as well as a full year of the change with our retirees. We may need to make adjustments to the employee rates next year based upon that analysis, but we feel like right now BET was comfortable making a recommendation to freeze rates for this fiscal year. Well, not fiscal year, calendar year. The employee rates, whatever we set, will begin January 1 of 24 and run through December 31 of 24. But go ahead and freeze those, and we anticipate that we're going to have a great year in benefits, and we won't need to make adjustments to the rates next year, but we never know. And if we do need to make adjustments and start looking at catching up, we will definitely look at that next year. But we just think it's too early in the process with all of the good information that we've been given to make those changes at this point.
This is what, then this will be, I think I saw it on a previous slide, the 4th straight year that we did not raise employee rates.
Something like that for,
Yeah, I think it was 4. There you go.
Yep.
There you go.
2020, we actually had a recommendation from the actuary to reduce the rates between 19 and 20. So.
All hail the BET.
Does that mean you don't anticipate needing the money that we front loaded into from the reserve fund?
I'm glad you mentioned that. That was another part of our analysis as well. At the end of the day, if we increase the premiums on the employees, it just adds to that employee benefits fund. We front funded an additional $500,000 that we haven't been doing. We did that this year, so that gives us even a little bit more cushion for this fiscal year so that we can get through it and then do our analysis next year. That was part of our consideration, the $500,000. It's way too early to tell whether we will need that $500,000 or not. The nice thing, I'm hoping that we don't, and that it's sitting in there, and over the next several fiscal years, if we can maintain and our plan does well, and we still put a little bit extra in there when we can, that way when we do get to a year, because we will. I mean, history shows that we will have another bad year at some point, but if we've put a little bit extra in here and there, when we do get to that year that is an anomaly and it's a bad year, we're not having to pass the hat at the end of the fiscal year because we've got a sufficient balance in that employee benefit account. I think that's the goal and what we would like to look at moving forward.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, but no? No.
Thank you.
All right, item 56. This is a interfund transfer, and so is 57 and 58, 59, all of those. Any individual consideration, you want to take them as a group?
Individual consideration, I think we better.
Okay, we'll fire up. Did you want to do it individually?
Yes,
Okay, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve item 56.
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
57.
Anybody here to speak about
Motion
that?
to approve?
I think, Cody, am I correct that 56, 57, 58, and 59 have all previously been approved, but this is actually taking action to move the money?
I believe I don't have the agenda in front of me to know
Okay.
exactly, but you've got several agenda items on there that were either previously approved by budget board for this fiscal year budget. One of them is an ARPA that has already been approved, but it's just moving money within that account for the project that's already been approved.
Okay.
So I don't know what number the ARPA one was.
Okay. I think the ARPA one is 58.
Are we
Fif-
done? Are we
50
done?
Yes.
Are we
Yeah,
done with 57?
58 is.
Sorry, we're still on 57.
57.
Oh,
Tom
yes, I voted.
Mover, seconder.
Okay, 58.
Now. Do you want to make a motion?
Anybody, any questions?
Oh. I'll move approval on item 58.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, and then 59 is, it's a little bit of a hybrid. It is money that was approved in the purchasing budget for this fiscal year. The clerk's office, based on action at a previous budget board meeting, the purchasing department has moved into their department. So this money was approved for purchasing. What the request, I believe, from the clerk's office is actually to take that money that was approved for purchasing and move it into their budget to pay for those activities.
But the money's already approved into a separate budget, correct?
Yes.
So why,
Yeah.
is there really a necessity of moving this?
I think the biggest necessity is, number one, is because that's where the person is, or the office is now, and the second one is so we can get it lined up as we start doing the budget for the next fiscal year.
I'll move approval.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 60 is to approve the meeting dates for the next calendar year. Unless there's any objection. Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any citizens who want to speak to the budget board? Seeing none, any board comments? The assessor.
Yes, I was curious about the information that was either delivered or not delivered to the members of the budget board and also county employees regarding the shooting yesterday. And I don't know if there's a solution or if there was a reason why no one was notified. We didn't get any emails or any notification in our office. I thought it would be rather important to know that there was a shooting in the parking garage just to the north of us.
I got several communications from Renee, both email and text message.
I did not, nor did my staff.
Yeah, we didn't get it.
So is there a protocol that decide, we have a, I don't know if there's an electronic way to be able to do that, but we also have the intercom system. I thought that would be something that we should know because I believe the parking garage was shut down and that would affect employees that were either sick or had appointments outside the building.
I think the protocol is when you hear bang, 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 duck.
Well, and that's
Well, I don't
basically
wanna
what
be
our
flippant.
office did when employees that sit next to the glass heard the gunshots. Then the employees had to communicate to other employees, and then we chose to lock our office down and assumed that we would be provided an update, but we were not. So I was incredibly disturbed and disgusted by the lack of communication yesterday in regards to protection of our staff and making everyone feel safe.
So let's talk about this real quick. First of all, nobody was in this building. The sheriff and his people should be commended because when they heard bang bang, they were between us and the problem instantaneously. So yes, the danger existed, but the people that responded in an appropriate manner. And thank you for you and your guys. The communication breakdown has been discovered. What I think all of us need to do is to go into an executive session at a future date and discuss this because this is going to be security protocols that we want to discuss amongst ourselves. The communication breakdown was simply there was an app being used. Some of us didn't know about the app. We were on ReadyOps, which is the old system. That is very simple communication that we can fix. But I think your office responded appropriately, as you said. Each office needs to have their own standard SOP. They don't need to wait for the sheriff to tell them what to do because there's a lapse in there. I think you performed exactly the way, but you need to hear an all clear. And I think we need to get into an executive session and discuss that, but not do it here openly nor place blame because the guys that were here to protect us did a great job doing that.
I appreciate that. And I do want to make clear, I absolutely am not placing blame because I don't understand who is responsible for what, to be honest. I know that the police officers did their job. And so in no way am I wanting to point the fingers to the sheriff's office. They did their job and they responded as needed. I just was very concerned about not knowing how to communicate with our staff.
Yep.
It was, and especially where we're at today. So 100% Sheriff Oklahoma City, your department, amazing and did a great job. So I want to make clear that that is not my intention.
Yeah.
I'd also, somehow we found out, well, of course, obviously it stands to reason anyway, but stay the heck away from the windows. And the first thing we did was bring down our shades. And the second thing we did is let Jerry Stone shade up. He sat right there at
Well-
his desk while everybody else moved.
It was in the afternoon. He probably wasn't there anyway.
It was after 10 o'clock. No, but my concern was that I thought that was a trash dumpster being emptied. I had no idea what it was. And I was concerned because I was in one of those offices that has an open window right to the north. And it was very disconcerting when then there was no notification to anyone. It would have been easy to send it out in an email, and it would have been easy to put something and saying, there's been a shooting across the way. And that's all I needed to know. And the street shut down, something like that, because finding out after the fact is not very pleasant. So if there's a way that we can discuss that in any way possible, I'd appreciate it, because I'd like not to have that happen again.
Miles, do you want to put it on executive session next budget board?
I'm more than willing to put it on for next executive session. We can also put it on for next BOCC, and we can actually invite everybody else.
Okay.
Because that's quicker.
Okay.
The only thing is I want the sheriff's people to have time to do their after action report.
Sure.
And then and I'm more than willing to put it on executive session and let everybody come in. I mean, the other two commissioners get a say in that, but all of us sit around and hear firsthand what happened. It's a simple communication error. It's not a big deal. Everybody was protected. We do need to let everybody know and each other know what our SOPs are and go from there. And this probably isn't the right place to do that, so.
But I would like to not wait a month. So whatever that looks like.
I don't want to do it next BOCC, but the one after that, so probably 2 weeks out. That should give the sheriff enough time I've already talked with the people here responsible for our security on site, and they didn't think they could have it done in a week, so. And Sheriff, you can probably back me up on that.
You know, we've been in several meetings, because this isn't the first incident that's happened here. And so we've been in with judges and spoke about communication in many different conversations, and where that went wrong or how you weren't notified, I'm unsure, because the things that were in place obviously worked and came to me. You know, obviously, you know, we got the sheriff's side and they're talking, but the other forms of communication that were supposed to happen came out and I received them.
Yeah.
No.
I didn't see it. No, so we'll discuss this later. Yeah.
District 3.
Good.
Treasurer.
Each of you should have 2 of these county seal pins. When I first got here in 2019, I think I asked Joe and Cody, "Where's my pin? When I get elected, don't I get a county pin?" And they looked at me like, "What?" So it took us a while to get around to ordering these. So you should have one for yourself and one for your chief deputy. And we do have a few extras. So if you want to give one as a gift to someone, maybe they've done something for county government, we have some extras. So you're welcome to come get a couple extras. So
I thought these were Hooten passing out.
you thought what?
I thought this was Hooten passing out cufflinks.
No,
Yeah.
this is no. They're
Court clerk.
Thank you.
Sheriff.
No comment.
Is there any new business? If not, is a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.